Hey everybody, welcome to a new week of remote learning. You know me, Mr. Foster. I'm going to be taking over from Miss Martin for the rest of this online learning process. You know, she delivered a baby. She's taking her maternity leave. So we're going to be starting a new book, and it's called Boys. Miracles Boys. It's about three brothers who are growing up, living together, and just going through the ups and downs of life. Okay. In this video, we're going to go over our do now or our quick write. Do now, please do now. And then we're also going to, I'm going to read chapter 1 for you all. And you can feel free to open up the link, the doc, to read along with me, or you can read independently, or whatever works best for you. Let's see. Our please do now for today, it asks the question: do you have any older siblings? If so, describe your relationship with them. If not, describe relationships you may have with older cousins or uncles or aunts or someone that's close to your age, not too much older than you. What's your relationship like with them? Because we're going to dive deep into the relationship between the brothers in this novel. So you can either pause the video now and go ahead and answer that question, or otherwise I'm going to keep going. Again, this novel is called Miracles Boys. It's by an author named Jacqueline Woodson. She is a three-time Newbery Honor author, so that's a big-time award for authors. As you can see, that's the picture in your doc. You'll see the cover of the book, and another picture that's actually the TV show with the three boys, but it represents the characters in the story. Now, before we read, I want to go over something rather important for this novel. The narrator and the characters, when they interact, they use slang. Now, you all use slang all the time, right? But the slang that they use may be a little different from what you all use. So, one of the first words or terms that they use in the book is brother. All right. Now, if you look in the dictionary, the definition of brother is a man or boy who shares one or more parents with another person. So a lot of you may have brothers and sisters, right? I have a brother, we share the same mom. I have a sister, we share the same mom. I have other brothers, we share the same dad, all right? So the slang definition of brother is a guy who is close to you or someone you trust, a really good friend. So you all may just say bro, like that's my bro, all right? I say bro. You may not say brother all the way out. So brother, bro, those are pretty much the same thing. And then it's a couple more, all right? I listed the dictionary definition for these next couple of terms. I want you to come up with what the slang definition is, all right? You can find that probably online, but I want you to think about it, and then I'm actually going to reveal the answers to this, all right? So just pause the video and look at the definitions, the dictionary definitions on the left-hand side, and then put in what you think the slang definition is, and then I'm going to review it with you all. All right, you can pause the video now, but I'm going to keep going. So for bad, the dictionary definition is failing to reach an acceptable standard, not good. An example, I'll put a sentence example, an example of it in a sentence for you. It says, he thought the food was bad. All right, what would the slang definition for bad means? All right, then we have hang, dictionary definition, to fasten to some elevated point without support from below. An example, I would like to hang my coat up in the closet, all right? And then we have step, dictionary definition of movement made by raising the foot and bringing it down. All right, an example, she took a step toward her house, right? That's pretty much just start walking. All right, so if you think about bad as slang, right? The definition for it as far as slang goes, you be like, man, that's a bad boy. So if someone's playing basketball, and you be like, man, he's bad in basketball. He's a bad boy. that actually means that he's really good in basketball. All right. Now, or he's like the top dog. Like, man, he's bad. He's the baddest. He's the baddest basketball player I know. So that means like he's the number one. He's the best basketball player that I know. We look at hang. All right, we said that's to fasten to some elevated point without support from below. So when you say like you're going to spend time with your friends, what do you say? You can say, oh, I'm going to go hang with my friends. All right, so when people hang out, that means that they're gathering together, having fun, doing whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's playing 2K, they're dancing, they're partying, whatever the case may be, they're hanging out. All right, now step is the last one. Dictionary definition: a movement made by raising the foot and bringing it down. So if you're taking a step, that means you're walking, right? More than likely, okay? So if I tell you to step, like get the step, and I don't know if y'all are familiar with the TV show Martin, it still comes on TV somewhere. But if someone steps, like step, that means go, leave, get out of here, right? So now we're looking at chapter 1. The purpose of chapter 1 is to give you the background knowledge about characters and set up the story and whatnot, all right? So as you read and listen to me read, you can fill in the chart below with notes about each character, all right? So we got Tyree, we got New Charlie, and we got Lafayette. So Lafayette they call La, New Charlie they call Cha, all right? And then Tyree in the middle there, all right? So as we read, or as I read, as you follow along, or as you read solo, fill in information about these characters, Lafayette, Tyree, and New Charlie, all right? Put down details about their character traits, their appearance, their relationships to the other characters, or what has already happened to them so far. So if any event, anything happened with them, you can write that down, all right, or type that in, all right? So then you have your questions. I want you to go through these questions and answer them as best as you can. So we have, where did New Charlie recently come back from? How has he changed? So I have a couple of sentence stems, sentence starters for you all. The answer to answer this one, you can say New Charlie has come back from, and then you just fill in, type in, where did he come back from? Answer the next question, what happened to the brother's mom? The next question, how does New Charlie treat La when he's around Aaron? New Charlie treats La, and then you fill in the blank. How does he treat him? New Charlie treats La. Does he treat him good? Does he treat him bad? How's he treating him? All right. Last question, well, second to last question. What is La's way of dealing with New Charlie's hatred toward him? You can check page 8 for that. Page 8. And then we have a multiple choice to end. What is the purpose of flashbacks in chapter 1? A, to reveal information about the type of person New Charlie used to be. B, to show how much New Charlie and Lafayette's relationship has changed since New Charlie returned from Rahway. Or C, both A and B. And then I want you to also to type out a little bit my answer. So you type your answer. What was it? Was it A, B, or C? And then write how do you know? I know because. Tell me, how do you know? Where did you find your information? What evidence do you have to back up what you answered? Okay. So now I'm going to go over to the reading, and I'm going to read chapter 1 for you all. You can actually stop here if you want, if you're going to read it on your own and answer the questions, or you can listen to me read. All right, chapter 1. Brothers is the baddest. Then comes Dominicans. Dominicans don't mess around. I'm cool with Dominicans, though. They don't mess with me. I don't mess with them. I lay back on my bed and listen to my brother New Charlie talking. We had shared this room since the day I was born. And I swear since the day I was born, he'd been going on about who was the baddest. Used to be Puerto Ricans were the second baddest, but somewhere along the road their status dropped. Brothers were always at the top or the next ones down. New Charlie wasn't talking to me. Since he'd gotten home from Rahway home for the boys a few months ago, he never talked to me. He was combing his hair and talking to Aaron. They'd known each other forever to say what's up and stuff, but they didn't start hanging until New Charlie came home from Rahway. Seems once New Charlie saw the inside of Rahway, most of the guys around here who cut school, hung out real late, and got into all kinds of stuff thought he was some kind of wonderful. Aaron acted like he wanted to kiss the heels of Neutrali's shoes, hanging on to Neutrali's words like there was something special. And Neutrali was just as stupid over Aaron, hanging out with him like Aaron was his brother, like Aaron was me. Neutrali and Aaron were the same height and walked the same way, and now they had the same meanness. Aaron's meanness had always been around him. Even when we were small, we'd walk past him and he'd say something negative. Like when Mama used to go to church on Sundays, we'd all dress up, walking to the bus stop. Aaron would say something like, "Mama's church boys going to meet their maker." Or the time our big brother Tyree stopped him from snatching this little kid's Halloween bag. Aaron didn't take the bag, but he kept glaring over his shoulder as me and Tyree and the kid walked away, saying, "That's all right, church boy, that's all right." He had something waiting for us later on. Neutrali's meanness was as new as his name. He'd come back from Rahway with it, and the way he and Aaron hung so tight, you'd think he didn't remember those days when we crossed to the other side of the street when we saw Aaron and his boys hanging out. We watched Neutrali part his hair on the side and comb it one way, then shake his head, part it on the other side, and pull a comb through it again. His hair is curly, like our mom's was, jet black curls that girls go crazy for. He's 3 years older than me, but only a little bit taller, and at that rate he was going school-wise. Come this time next year, I'd be almost caught up with him. I just started 7th grade, and Neutrali was repeating 9th, but he didn't seem to care one way or the other. The old Charlie would have cared about me catching up to him. He would have sat down at the dining table with table crammed because he would have been embarrassed about me being in almost the same grade as him. See, the old Charlie had feelings. If Charlie saw a stray cat or dog, he'd start crying. Not out and out bawling, but he'd just see it and start tearing up. Sometimes, when we were out walking, he'd turn away real fast, and I know it was because he saw the shadow of some stray animal and was wishing it wasn't out in the cold. Once he told me that some nights he'd lay in bed just praying for all the stray animals out there. "There's a lot of them, you know," Charlie said, "and probably not a whole lot of people praying for them." He told me about St. Francis of Assisi, and how he was the guy who looked out for all the animals. He said him and St. Francis were the only two asking God to help those animals walking the cold streets not to freeze to death. I promised Charlie I'd pray too. And sometimes, late at night, Charlie would just start talking, telling me stories about how things were before I was born, memories of him and our older brother, Tyree, and my mama and daddy together. Wasn't ever anything mean in it, like that he wished I hadn't been born or something. Just stories, quiet stories that would make me smile and help me fall asleep. Now I called him Neutrali because Rahway hadn't sent the guy I was just talking about home. This guy standing at the mirror moving his hair around his head was something different. Not the guy who used to laugh and tell jokes and put his arm around my shoulder. This guy never did any of those things, ever. Right after he came home from Rahway, I got up in the middle of the night to look at him. He had been away for more than 2 years, and the guy sleeping across from me was a stranger. Some days he'd just sit on that bed with his hands hanging down between his knees, just staring out the window and looking evil. But when he was asleep, his face spread out. All the frowns and scowls just kind of faded, and he looked like Charlie again, ready to care about something, to be happy, or to cry about stray animals. Neutrali checked himself out for a moment without saying anything. He's light brown, with thick black eyebrows and mama's nose. He winked at himself, then caught me watching him in the mirror and gave me the finger. I looked away from him without giving him the finger back. "What changed you, Cha?" I wanted to ask him. "What made you cold? Y'all don't go to church no more?" Aaron nosed. I swallowed and caught Neutrali's eyes. He looked back at me for a second, then frowned. "Church is for little boys," he said. "Little mama's boys." "I look like a little mama's boys to you?" Aaron shrugged. The last time any of us was in church was for Mama's funeral. I didn't want to see the inside of one again, at least not for a long time, at least till the thought of even passing by one isn't enough to make me choke up and start bawling about Mama. Stupid little mama's boys like Lala, New Charlie said. My name ain't Lala, I said. In the summer, I go down south to my great aunt Cecil's house. If the watermelons are ripe, she'll buy one. When we get home, she's always takes it out back and breaks it open against a rock and scoops out the heart of it, the sweetest, reddest part, and hands it to me. I stared out the window. Somebody had done that to Charlie. Scooped out his heart and sent the empty, bitter rind of him on home. Aaron was sitting on the bed directly across from mine, New Charlie's bed, and he was rolling one of his pants legs up slowly. Sometimes, when he looked at me, I felt the coldness. I felt somebody was dripping ice water down my back. Anyways, Puerto Ricans, New Charlie said. If they're in a gang, then you got a problem. If they're on their own, then it's cool. Most of the ones in Rahway had gangs behind them. I don't know no Puerto Ricans that ain't in a gang, Aaron said. What are you talking about? I said. We're half Puerto Rican and we ain't in no gang. And you're all Puerto Rican and you ain't either. How you know what I'm in with your little self? Aaron said. You don't know nothing about me, little boy. Aaron looked me up and down like he was looking at something that didn't even have a right to be in the world. He was wearing a Yankees baseball cap with the front of it pulled down over his eyes so that he had to lift his whole face to look at me. I thought that was a stupid way to wear a hat, but didn't say anything about it. I don't know what my size got to do with anything, but I know you ain't in no mind your business, Lala. New Charlie glared at me through the mirror. Nobody in this room is talking to you. You hear anybody call your name? When somebody calls your name, then somebody's talking to you. And nobody in this room is ever going to be calling your name. So just keep your stupid mouth closed, Aaron said, and maybe you'll live. Lafayette, I said. My name ain't no Lala. It's Lafayette. I turned away from both of them and stared out the window. If you ever had a brother who didn't like you, then I don't have to explain it. Feels like being a stranger in your own house, like everything that used to mean something doesn't anymore. Even your name, New Charlie, hated my guts. Oh wait, I think I skipped something. Even your name, New Charlie hated my guts since Mama died, and he wasn't shy about letting anybody listening know it. Most times when he and Aaron got to talking, I just stayed quiet. If I was real quiet, it was like I was invisible. And if I was invisible, New Charlie wouldn't hate me. What about white boys? Aaron asked. White boys? What you think about white boys? Don't know, Cha. That's why I'm here asking you. You act like you know everything about Dominicans and Ricans and brothers, I figure. Of course I know about white boys, New Charlie said. They're not even worth mentioning. It's like if you have a totem pole of badness, right? You got the brothers at the top, then the Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans in gangs, then the Puerto Ricans not in gangs, and maybe some of those Chinese guys that's in gangs. They know karate and stuff too, Aaron said, like Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan can mess some brothers up, yo. Yeah, like if they know karate, then they probably go before the Puerto Ricans in gangs. Except if the gangbangers got guns. Aaron looked over at me, blow somebody's head off. I chewed on my bottom lip and didn't say anything. Once, before he went to Rahway, Charlie took me to see a Jackie Chan movie. When we came out of the movies, I started kicking and chopping and stuff, telling Charlie I wish I was Chinese, so then I could know karate. Charlie put his hand on my shoulder and turned me toward him. Not all Chinese people know karate, he said. That's a stereotype. I didn't know what he was talking about, but his hand was hard on my shoulder, so I stopped chopping. Like when people say all black people are lazy or something, Charlie said. I shrugged. A few months later, I saw another movie. Only it wasn't Jackie Chan and it wasn't about karate. It was about this couple and they had this landlord who lived upstairs who was supposed to be Chinese or something. Only he wasn't really. He was some guy making believe. When people in the audience started laughing at the way the guy was talking, I felt weird, like it wasn't right. But if they know karate, New Charlie was saying, then they can kick a gun out of a gangbanger's hand, right? Yeah, said Aaron. You right, if they're fast enough. Don't a bullet travel at the speed of sound or something? Depends on the gun, probably, Neutrali said. I wanted to remind Neutrali about that day at the day at the Jackie Chan flick about his hand in my shoulder and what he said, and I wanted to tell Neutrali that he had the totem pole idea all screwed up. If brothers were at the top, that meant they were the least bad. And anybody who knew even the tiniest about totem poles knew that the most important was at the bottom, but I bit my bottom lip and didn't say anything. Then after every day, everybody else, Neutrali was saying, then you got the white boys. What about that guy David, Aaron said, the one from Rahway. I looked at Neutrali in time to see him glance at me in the mirror, then cut his eyes back at Aaron. He wasn't allowed to talk about Rahway in front of me. Tyree didn't allow it. But Tyree was at work, and Neutrali took every chance he could to do the opposite of what Tyree said. He turned toward Aaron and leaned back against our dresser. Then he dropped his voice real low. I'm actually going to stop right there, and I'm going to let you all finish reading on your own, because that's actually a lot, and I want to keep this video at about 20 minutes so that it don't have any problems uploading. But if you need any help, always jump on the Zoom call, and we can go over stuff every weekday, Monday through Friday, 10 to 10:30. All right, 10 to 10:30 on Zoom. Check your Google calendars. You can hit the link, join me there. Imani's always logging on for help. If you need any help, you can ask Imani on how to get on Zoom as well. All right.